Master Your Mindset Radio, episode 43.
Welcome to Master Your Mindset Radio, the show where we empower you to conquer limiting beliefs and transform your world with your gifting and purpose. Now for your host, Elizabeth Nader.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode. This morning I was having a conversation with my husband about the movie A Beautiful Life. I don't know where that came from, and I'm not sure why we were having that conversation, because that movie's been out a long time and I haven't watched it for years, but it just came up in our discussions and we talked about how amazing that movie is. If you haven't seen it, you need to see it. And as I understand it, it's somewhat based on a true story, but the idea is that an Italian Jewish waiter in Italy during World War II falls in love with a beautiful Italian woman. They get married, they have a son. But unfortunately, as the Nazis progress in their power, he and his son are put into a concentration camp. And the movie proceeds to show you how the father, who loves his son so much, creates this false world for him, or creates this fantasy world for him, and turns the concentration camp into what he says is a game, and that they're playing a game and they need to win the game. So he manages his behavior, his emotions, and his reactions to what is going on around him as though it's all made up and all pretend. Now, I don't want to ruin the movie for you if you haven't seen it. Please go see it. It will be just something you'll never forget. But the father does this out of his unbelievable love for his son. And it shows you not only the love of a father towards a son, but the power of suggestion, the power that we have over someone else and even over ourselves to create an environment and an atmosphere that is maybe not even the truth, not even what's happening, but it's all the power of how we decide to look at something. The power of suggestion. It really is about the power of our mind. In this case, the father lovingly used the power of suggestion to create a safer environment for his son, and to create out of a evil, horrible situation something that his son would never connect to the evil. He thought it was a game. He thought it was something made up. And it's a fascinating display of not only a father's love, but also the power of suggestion. So I started thinking about that today. And, I love anything that's based in how the mind works, how the subconscious works, how the conscious mind works. That's what my book is based in. That's what I talk about. And what I find even more fascinating is when the world uses all these concepts, and maybe they don't have God in the concept, but they use these to actually make big changes in their life. And if you know me, I'm all about keeping God in these concepts because I believe they're His, and I believe that He, since He created us, He understands and set forth how all these laws work and how important and powerful our mind is, and how our conscious mind works with our subconscious mind. So today I was just reading a few things about the power of suggestion, and I came across something really interesting that I wanted to share with you to remind you how important this principle is in our life. Now, I want you to use this title, this theme, this topic as it relates to you and your mind, not necessarily you trying to convince somebody else to see things differently, although certainly that comes into play. We never want to manipulate someone else's view, but we do definitely want to help them see things in a good way. But now I'm going to talk about the power of suggestion as it relates to your life, your mind, your experiences, and how you manage things for yourself. So I was doing some research, and in the world of psychology, there was a man who lived in the 1800s, the late 1800s, a French pharmacist actually. His name was Emile Coué, and he apparently did some research and some work and came up with some concepts that they eventually dubbed the laws of suggestion. And whether or not he's totally responsible for these, he definitely added to the body of work that is the laws of suggestion and understanding how the unconscious mind works with the conscious mind. Now, as I read all of this, of course, from my worldview, I always take this back and I base it in the Word of God because I want to make sure I stay within the boundaries of what I believe to be true related to how we were made. But interestingly enough, if you look at things through that filter, all science and psychology works just fine within the Word of God, because if there's truth in it, it starts there with God. So I am reading this article and looking at all of this work that this man did and with others, and I found it to be so interesting. So I wanted to give you just some things to think about, some things to challenge you, to make you slow down and stop and realize how your subconscious is working with your mind and how you might change some things. So here are some nuggets for you to consider. So Coué worked on all of these laws of suggestion, and he did so with the premise that all suggestion is self-suggestion. So the imagination and the will are in play here, and that when the imagination and the will are in conflict, and if you've heard me teach, I talk about that as the subconscious and the conscious are in conflict, that the imagination will always be stronger. So there is a statement by him that completely supports what I say in my book, which is when your subconscious and your conscious are not in alignment, when you are double-minded, guess what wins out every time? Your subconscious wins out every time. That is your power center. And what he's calling it is your imagination. And that is more powerful. Your imagination will be stronger. And when you follow my teachings, you know, we talk about not being double-minded, but being single-minded and getting the thoughts in your conscious mind to line up with the deeply held beliefs in your subconscious mind, because then you have willpower and then you can actually make major changes in your life. So the premise of these laws of suggestion are based on the fact that the subconscious wins every time. Unless you are in alignment with your conscious mind, the subconscious will take over. And that's why it's so powerful. And that's why we have to be so careful about what we believe, about what we take in, about what we allow to become a ruling belief or idea in our life, and we have to be aware of those things. So let me share with you some of the work that he did, and let's put it in the context of the things that we talk about here on this program and in my work and in my book, because I think this is always so fascinating when everything continues to come together and point in the same direction from different sources. So one of the laws of suggestion is called the law of auxiliary emotion. And what Coué says about this is that when an idea has powerful emotion, there is more likelihood that the idea will be realized. Now, that could be good or bad. If you have a negative idea, a negative thought, a negative belief, and it's powerfully negative, it has more power over you. There's more chance that it will be realized. So if you, for example, have a phobia, because phobias are grounded in such a powerful emotion of fear, that means that phobia becomes real to you and it's hard for you to overcome it because your subconscious is bringing that up and saying, this is a ruling belief that you have. So anytime you emotionalize a belief, it becomes more powerful. Now, we talk about this when we are trying to change our deeply held beliefs. You know, how do we change a negative, deeply held belief? Well, positive thinking in itself in our conscious realm is not powerful enough. It's important, but we miss something if we just try to think our way positive. That's not going to undo those deeply held beliefs. What we have to do is emotionalize that thought. Emotionalize that positive thought so it starts to have power. Because what he's saying here is the law of auxiliary emotion means that when an idea has powerful emotion, there is more likelihood that that idea will be realized, more likelihood that that idea or thought or belief will be in control. So we have to use that to our advantage for positive and powerful ideas that are good to change our lives, not the negative ones. So we need to understand emotionalizing an idea, a thought, or a belief makes it more powerful. So here is another law under the laws of suggestion, and Coué calls that the law of repeated effect. So this is related to habit formation. What he's saying is that with enough repetition, the subconscious mind will consider something to be true. So with enough repetition, the subconscious mind believes that is true. So understand the danger in this is that if you repeat a lie long enough, if you repeat something negative long enough, whether in words or in habit, the subconscious mind then starts to believe that it's true. This is the same for anything you would imagine in your conscious mind. When you focus on it long enough, repeat it long enough, the subconscious mind begins to believe that it's true. Now, athletes use this to their advantage when they imagine and visualize themselves running their race or swimming those laps or doing whatever they have to do to win that medal or win that competition. The ones that are really focused and really good at what they do, they will talk about visualization, and over and over and over again, they will imagine that competition in their mind, and they will see themselves doing well, and they will see their muscles working correctly and see themselves making it over the finish line first or scoring that goal. And they do it so much that their subconscious mind begins to believe that that's true and that that's happened, and it doesn't know the difference between the visualization of it and the imagination of it and the real thing. So when we get to the day and the time when they're going to compete and they get in that zone, their body and their mind just does exactly what it was trained to do because it doesn't know the difference. This has been proven by science. This you will see in so many athletes' daily habits and so many sports psychologists that encourage this, the law of repeated effect. And really in our lives, habit formation is tied to this. And we need to understand the power of that. Repeating something, even statements in our life. Coué's phrase was, every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. And he repeated that 20 times each night. He said it's not sufficient enough to say it once. Successful programming of our subconscious is repetition and really conditioning, right? And that is the power of suggestion, is that we repeat it, and we use that law of repeated effect, and we tie that to the law of auxiliary emotion, and we emotionalize those words and emotionalize those feelings and those thoughts, and we start to see the power in that. Here is another law within the power of suggestion, and that is called the law of dominant effect. Now, within that, the strongest emotion always wins. So think about this. If you have a strong fear of failure of something, that will override a weaker desire you may have to succeed. Your fear will hold you back. All of us know this. All of us deal with this. That the fear of something, if it's stronger than your desire to make it happen, guess what's going to win? I mean, you may try to move forward, but the attempt will either fail or it will be just kind of a weak attempt, because the strongest emotion that you're entertaining, that one will win. And as I teach, we have two emotions from which all feelings flow, either faith or fear. So if your fear of something is bigger than your faith in it, the fear will win. So we need to consider that is what emotion are we feeding the most in a situation. We have to deal with our negative emotions and limiting beliefs. We have to challenge those. We have to change them into positive, life-affirming emotions and feelings and thoughts and ideas and beliefs, and emotionalize all of those so they become ruling and they become dominant. But keep the simple principle in mind. If your fear is bigger than your faith, the fear will win out every time. And here is one more for you. This is a big body of work, but I just wanted to give you a few nuggets to work with in your daily life. In the laws of suggestion, or the power of suggestion, the law of concentrated attention. when an idea is focused on, it becomes magnified. This is what we talk about when what you focus on enlarges. And I use the example in one of my podcasts that I saw somebody's red Ferrari. We talked about his red Ferrari. We sat in his red Ferrari, whatever. It was an hour of the red Ferrari. And for the rest of the week, all I saw were red Ferraris. So it's not magic. I wasn't attracting them to me. I was just noticing them because my attention had changed, because I had concentrated attention towards red Ferraris without even realizing it, almost in my subconscious. So we need to think about what we focus on. And when we're trying to achieve a goal, are we focusing on the fact that we're not there yet, or the fact that we're going to get there? Are we focusing on what we don't have or what we want to have in our life? And this isn't just some simple kind of voodoo, we're going to attract, the things we think about. You have to not only emotionalize those thoughts, but you have to actually act as well, right? We must do something about them. We just don't sit around and think about what we want. But we do understand that what we focus on magnifies, what we focus on enlarges, which should give you pause to consider what you are focusing on a daily basis. So I believe those are powerful concepts. I'm always excited when I find research that lines up with what I have been teaching and what God has shown me. And it's always nice to see it written with maybe different words and from a different point of view, but the concepts are the same. The concepts are the same. So go watch the movie A Beautiful Life. Watch within the context of incredible evil and incredible love. Watch the power of suggestion and how it changed someone's life. And then remember all of these laws in your life. Remember that you are in charge of the one thing, which is how you think. All these laws are for you to benefit from, or you will suffer from them. It is your choice which one you experience. And it's all about focusing your mind on what you want, focusing your mind to move forward, focusing on faith, getting out of fear, dealing with your limiting beliefs. It's up to you. The power is there. The tools are there. The truth is there, but you alone have to put them in practice. I hope you guys have a great week. God bless.
Thank you for listening to Master Your Mindset Radio. Before you go, if you want to be part of a free online community of like-minded individuals for support, resources, and inspiration as you conquer your limiting beliefs and pursue your purpose, go to elizabethnader.com/community. That's elizabethnader.com/community, or search for Master Your Mindset Academy private group on Facebook. Looking forward to seeing you online.